Man suffers overdose, shows the meaning of life. During his incredible near-death experience, Thumb saw everything clearly. Homem sofre overdose e mostra o sentido da vida durante sua incrível experiência de quase morte. Inglês. It's strange how life can flip in an instant. One moment, I was breathing, laughing, existing like any other day. The next, I was slipping fast into a place I never thought I'd see, a place beyond pain, beyond explanation, beyond life itself. But before I get to that part, the part where everything changed, I need to tell you how I ended up there in the first place. Maybe then it'll make sense. Maybe then you'll understand what I saw, and what I now know for certain. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened. I was a man who had everything and felt nothing. From the outside, it looked like I was doing okay. Decent job. People who cared about me, even if I pushed them away. But inside, I was drowning, slowly, quietly. Every day felt heavier than the last. The pressure was unbearable. The silence in my mind was louder than any noise. That night, I didn't plan on dying. I didn't write a letter. I didn't say goodbye. I was just trying to shut it all off for a little while. I thought I could control it. I thought I could numb the chaos inside me. So, I took more than I should have. A mix of pills and whatever else I could find. I wasn't trying to kill myself. Not really. I just didn't want to feel anything anymore. But my body had other plans. I remember lying on the floor, my fingers tingling, my breathing slowing, my heart thudding like it was trying to escape my chest. And then nothing. No pain, no fear. Just black. And then light. But not the kind of light you'd expect. Not a blinding tunnel or some soft glow. No, this was different. This light had weight. It had presence. It surrounded me like a warm blanket, but it also pulsed like it was alive. I couldn't tell where it began or ended. It just was. And I was in the middle of it. I should have been terrified. I knew something had gone horribly wrong. But I wasn't afraid. In fact, for the first time in my life, I felt peace. A peace so deep, so complete, that I didn't want to leave it. I didn't want to go back. Then came the voice. Not a voice like yours or mine. It wasn't even sound. It was like a thought planted directly into my soul. It said, "You are safe, but this is not your time." I wanted to argue. I didn't want to return. But before I could respond, everything changed again. The light dimmed, and I was pulled, fast, like being sucked through water, into something else. That's when the real journey began. I landed in a place that felt both familiar and alien, like a dream I'd forgotten, but somehow always carried with me. Everything was vivid, more real than real. Colors that don't exist here, sounds that you feel in your bones. And in front of me, something incredible, a screen. But not a screen like a movie. It was alive, and it showed me my life. Every second, every breath, every choice. But here's the part that shattered me. I didn't just see what I had done. I felt what others had felt because of me. Every time I was cruel. Every time I was kind. Every word I thought didn't matter. It echoed. I felt the pain I had caused others. Not just saw it, felt it. As if their hearts had been placed inside my chest. There was no judgment, no punishment, only truth. Pure, raw truth. And it tore me apart. I saw myself as I truly was. Not the person I pretended to be. Not the mask I wore for the world. But the real me. And in that moment, I realized how far I had drifted from the person I was meant to become. Then something unexpected happened. The light returned, brighter this time. And with it, a presence. Not human, not physical, but more real than anything I'd ever known. It wasn't a man in the sky. It wasn't a deity like I had imagined growing up. It was everything: love, wisdom, grace, power. And it knew me. Every part of me, even the parts I hid from myself. And I knew, without a doubt, that I was in the presence of the source. Call it God, the universe, the divine. The name doesn't matter. What matters is the overwhelming sense of being fully known and fully loved. It asked me, again without words, What have you done with the gift of life? I had no answer, because I knew the truth. I had wasted it, and yet I wasn't condemned. I was being offered something else, a second chance. But before I could accept, it showed me something else, something I'll never forget. It showed me the meaning of life. The meaning of life. I used to think it was complicated, like it was hidden in books, philosophies, religions, endless debates. But there, in that space between here and the infinite, it was so simple that it stunned me. The meaning of life is to love, not just romantic love or love for family, but to live as love, to be love. Every breath, every action, every word meant to reflect love into the world. That's what we were made for. That's why we're here. Not to chase money, not to impress others, not to win arguments or accumulate things, but to grow in love, to give it, to receive it, to express it, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And suddenly, it all made sense. Every struggle I had faced, every person who had hurt me, every wound, every failure, every regret, they had all been lessons, not punishments, lessons, opportunities to choose love, even in darkness. I began to understand why certain things happened in my life, why I had been abandoned, why I had suffered. It wasn't meaningless, it wasn't random. There was a thread, a divine intelligence weaving everything together with perfect precision. The pain had purpose, the chaos had meaning, the wounds were teachers. And then I was shown something else, something that took my breath away. I was shown the ripple effect of kindness. A moment where I held a door open for an old man years ago when I was late for work and didn't really care. That tiny moment, insignificant to me, had sent a ripple across space and time. He had been contemplating ending his life that day. He was lonely, invisible, forgotten. But someone noticed him, me. That one gesture reminded him he was still seen, still part of the human family. And because of that, he chose to keep going. That man would go on to meet someone who would become his best friend. That friend would help him through a cancer diagnosis. He would later donate money to a shelter that saved dozens of lives, including a child who would grow up to become a doctor. All from one small moment I didn't even remember. And then I saw the other side too. The ripple of pain. The words I spoke in anger. The lies I told. The times I ignored a cry for help. So I saw how it passed on, how hurt people, and how my silence, my selfishness, my fear had traveled further than I could have imagined. Again, there was no judgment, only clarity. And the truth hit me. Every moment matters. Every choice is a brushstroke on the masterpiece of eternity. We are not separate, we are connected. Every soul is a thread in the great tapestry. And what I do to one, I do to all, including myself. I wept. Not tears from my eyes because I didn't have a body anymore, but from my soul. I wept for how blind I had been, for how much time I had wasted trying to be someone I wasn't, for how many people I had failed to love. And then, something extraordinary happened. I saw her, my grandmother. She had died when I was a child, but there she was, radiant, glowing, more alive than I'd ever seen her. She smiled, not with her mouth, but with her entire being. She embraced me, though we had no arms. She poured love into me, and for the first time in what felt like lifetimes, I felt home. She spoke to me, not with words, but through knowing. She told me she had never left, that she had been guiding me, loving me from beyond the veil, that every time I felt alone, I wasn't. I just didn't know how to listen. I asked her if I could stay. She said I had work to do, and then I saw others, friends who had passed, strangers whose lives had brushed mine, beings of light I didn't recognize, but who somehow knew me. They gathered around me like a choir of love, their presence echoing one single truth over and over again. You are not alone. You were never alone. You are deeply, endlessly loved. It was overwhelming, beautiful, healing. But then, something changed. A heaviness entered the space, a tension. The light flickered, not out of anger, but urgency, I felt it in my core. A decision was coming, one I wasn't ready for. And just like that, the divine asked me a question, not with judgment, but with fire. Will you go back? Everything in me wanted to say no. How could I leave this? How could I return to a broken world, a broken body, a broken life? I had found peace, I had found truth, I had found love. But then I was shown a vision, my mother, crying, clutching my cold hand in a hospital room, praying to a God she wasn't sure existed, begging for one more moment, one more chance. And I realized I still had a purpose. There were people who needed to be loved through me, things only I could do, lives only I could touch. And in that moment, I said yes. The moment I said yes, everything changed. I didn't fall. I didn't fly. I was pulled, gently but firmly, through a current of light and sound and memory. It was like swimming through liquid time. I passed through fragments of my life, but this time I saw them differently. I saw my parents holding me as a baby. I saw my first heartbreak, not as failure, but as an opening. I saw the faces of people I had forgotten, strangers whose lives I had touched without knowing. Each moment was sacred, every single one. And then I was falling, not through space, but into density, into limitation. I could feel the weight of my body returning, the pain, the fear, the noise, and the moment my spirit touched my flesh again, it was like being slammed into a box far too small. My eyes shot open. Machines beeped. Lights were too bright. A nurse screamed. Someone called a doctor. I was back, alive, barely. My chest ached. My muscles trembled. My lungs burned. But none of that compared to the grief I felt leaving that place. That peace, that love, that clarity. For days, I couldn't speak. Not because of the medication or the trauma, because I didn't have the words. How could I describe what I had seen? How could I explain that I had touched eternity and returned? People looked at me with concern. Some were relieved I was alive. Others were angry. I had scared them, I had broken them, but I had also been broken. And now, I was awake. I had to learn how to live again, how to walk with this knowledge inside me. At first, it felt like a curse, like I'd been shown paradise only to be thrown back into a world full of pain and chaos. I missed that divine presence with every part of me. I cried for it at night. I longed to return. But then, slowly, things began to shift. I started noticing people, really noticing them. The way they carried hidden grief, the way their eyes screamed while their mouths smiled. I began to feel their energy, their truth, their pain. And I began to understand why I came back. I was here to love, not in some grand, unflashy way, but in the quiet moments, in the stillness, in the patience I gave someone who was struggling, in the smile I offered when no one else would, in the forgiveness I extended when it was hardest. I started living differently. I called people I hadn't spoken to in years. I apologized, not to make myself feel better, but because I needed to take responsibility. I started giving without expecting anything in return. I started listening instead of waiting to speak. I started honoring the moment I was in, instead of chasing the next one. But it wasn't always easy. There were days when I wanted to forget what I had seen, days when the noise of the world drowned out the stillness of that other place, days when I questioned if it was even real. But then something would happen. A moment, a sign, a whisper, and I'd remember. It was real. More real than this. I also had to face my old life, the addiction, the depression, the lies I told myself. I couldn't run from it anymore, so I began the slow process of healing. I went to therapy. I joined support groups. I opened myself up to vulnerability. I faced the shadows I had avoided for years, and through it all I kept hearing the same message from that place. Love is always the answer. That one truth has become my compass, my anchor, my map, and every time I feel lost, I return to it. One day, not long after my recovery, I was walking through a park. The sun was low, the breeze gentle, and suddenly I felt it, That presence, not as strong as before, but enough. It was like a soft hand on my shoulder, a whisper in my heart. You are on the path. Keep going. And I broke down. Right there in the middle of the park, surrounded by strangers, I fell to my knees and wept. Not because I was sad, but because I finally understood. I finally remembered what this life is about. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being right. It's about being present, being kind, being real, being open. It's about choosing love when anger is easier, choosing hope when despair is louder, choosing to believe that every soul we meet is fighting a battle we can't see, and that a little light can shatter a lot of darkness. That moment changed me more than any therapy or medication ever could, because I didn't just believe in something bigger, I knew it. And that knowing transformed everything. I started telling my story, at first in whispers, then louder, not to gain attention, not to impress, but because I realized there were others out there, so many, who were standing on the edge just like I had, people who felt alone in their darkness, people who were begging for a sign that life still mattered. So I spoke, in meetings, in coffee shops, in quiet corners of crowded rooms. I shared what I had seen, what I had learned, what I now carried, and something happened I never expected. People listened, not because I was wise or special, but because truth recognizes truth. Because somewhere deep inside, we all remember. We all come from the same source. We've just forgotten. But when someone dares to speak from that place of raw, divine truth, something stirs. Walls crack, light gets in, and hearts begin to heal. Strangers would tell me their stories. Some had seen glimpses of what I'd seen. Some had lost people they couldn't let go of. Some were simply tired, tired of pretending, tired of pain, tired of feeling invisible. And as I listened, I realized another truth. We are all walking each other home. Every smile, every act of grace. Every time we slow down long enough to look someone in the eyes and say, I see you, we are healing the world. Not through grand gestures, but through presence, through love. The kind of love that holds space, that listens without fixing, that sees without judging. The kind of love that says, you matter, even when someone believes they don't. That's the love I felt in that place, and that's the love I now try, imperfectly but sincerely, to bring into this one. I won't lie to you. Life didn't magically become easy. I still wrestle with old shadows. I still get angry, anxious, overwhelmed. I still make mistakes. I still forget what I know. But the difference is, I come back quicker now. I remember faster. Because once you've touched the eternal, once you've seen the threads of connection binding all things, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to sleep. And so I live with eyes open, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Because I know pain has purpose. I know that behind every difficult person is a wounded child. I know that every soul is doing the best it can with what it knows. And most of all, I know that I was spared for a reason. Sometimes people ask me, why you? Why did you get to come back? And the truth is, I don't know. But maybe it's not about why. Maybe it's about what now. What will I do with this second chance? What will I create, forgive, heal, become? How many hearts can I reach before I go back, for good? Because I will go back. We all will. And when I do, I want to stand in that light again without regret. I want to hear, well done. I want to know that I used my time here not to chase illusions, but to become love in action. And if my story can help even one soul turn back from the edge, if it can plant one seed of hope in a field of despair, then it was worth it. All of it, even the pain, especially the pain, because pain, I've learned, is not the enemy. It's the invitation, the doorway, the refining fire. And on the other side of that fire is the truest version of who we really are. Light, love, divine beings having a human experience. And I remember something else now, something that feels important to share. In that place, or before I came back, I asked the divine, what is the most powerful thing I can do while I'm alive? And the answer was instant, clear, and simple. Be fully present with one soul at a time. Love them with everything you are. See them as I see them. That's it. No titles, no fame, no perfect life. Just love, one heart at a time. That simple truth shattered every illusion I ever had about success, purpose, and what it means to live a meaningful life. I used to think I had to do something big to matter, to leave a legacy, to prove my worth. But now I know, greatness is found in presence, in showing up, in loving deeply, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. After I recovered, I began noticing how often we run, how fast this world moves, how disconnected we've become. People walking with their heads down, scrolling, rushing, avoiding eye contact. And I realized how starved we are for real connection, for someone to stop, to look us in the eyes and say, "You matter." So I started doing that, silently sometimes, with a smile, a kind word, a hand on the shoulder. And the reactions I saw, tears, laughter, shock, reminded me how deeply we are all craving love. Not romantic love, not conditional love, but the kind that sees the soul. I began volunteering, visiting people in hospitals, speaking at recovery centers, sitting with people in their grief, not trying to fix it, but simply holding space for it, and time and again, I saw the same thing. When someone feels seen, healing begins, not always instantly, but something shifts. The soul remembers what the mind has forgotten. And still, I had doubts. I wrestled with what I had seen. I questioned whether I was going crazy, until the dreams began. They weren't just dreams. They were visits. I would see people I hadn't thought of in years, people who had passed on, and they would speak to me, comfort me, guide me. I'd wake up in tears, heart pounding, filled with peace I couldn't explain. Sometimes they gave me messages for others, messages that brought closure, healing, even forgiveness. And I knew the veil is thin. Death is not the end. It's not a punishment. It's a return. And this life we're in right now, it's the classroom, the training ground, the preparation. We're here to learn how to love, how to remember, how to awaken to what we really are. Not flesh, not bone, but light, wearing skin for a little while. And when we forget, life gives us nudges, loss, illness, breakdowns. These are not signs of failure. They're invitations, wake-up calls, opportunities to choose again. I chose again, and I keep choosing every single day, because life still tests me. People still hurt me. The world still breaks my heart. But I no longer see those moments as attacks. I see them as assignments, as mirrors, as sacred reminders to lean in, not pull away, to open, not close, to soften, not harden. I don't always get it right. I still fall short. I still have days where I want to hide under the covers and forget what I know. But grace meets me there, every time. And here's something else I've come to believe with all my heart. Every soul you meet is fighting a battle you can't see. So be kind. Every interaction is sacred. Every moment holds eternity. You don't have to believe what I saw. You don't have to understand it. But maybe, just maybe, something in my voice is stirring something in yours. A quiet remembering. A soft inner knowing that there's more. That you are more. Because you are. And if you're hurting right now, if you're standing on the edge like I once did, please, I beg you, stay just one more day, just one more breath, because you don't know what beauty still awaits you. You don't know how many lives you're destined to touch. You don't know what miracle is waiting just around the corner. And because I promise you this, the pain will pass, the storm will calm, the night will end, but you are eternal. You are seen. You are loved. I didn't believe that once. But now I know it, and that knowing has changed everything. I've come to understand that life isn't about escaping pain or avoiding suffering. It's about walking through it with open eyes, an open heart, and the courage to keep choosing love again and again, even when everything inside you wants to shut down. That is the real path. That is awakening. Since coming back, I've had moments where I've felt that same presence again. Not in dramatic visions or supernatural events, but in quiet moments, sitting on the porch as the sun rises, holding a child's hand, watching someone's eyes fill with tears because they feel safe to finally be real. That's where the sacred lives now, not in the sky, but here, right here, in the messy, beautiful, aching now. There's something I remember from that place, something etched so deeply into my soul that it guides me even when I forget everything else. It's a truth so powerful, so pure. It cuts through all the noise, all the fear, all the pretending. You are enough, as you are, right now, not when you're healed, not when you're successful, not when you've fixed everything. Right now, as you sit in your mess, in your questions, in your flaws, you are enough. You are worthy of love because you are love. This world will try to convince you otherwise. It will tell you that you need to be more, do more, earn more, that you are what you produce, that your value is in how you look or what you own. But I've seen beyond this world, and I can tell you, none of that matters. What matters is how you loved. Did you see people? Did you forgive? Did you lift others up when they fell? Did you soften your heart when it would have been easier to close it? That's the legacy that lasts. That's what echoes through eternity. And maybe you're listening to this and thinking, but I've messed up too much, I've hurt people, I've failed, I'm broken. And to that I say, welcome. Welcome to being human. We all fall, we all lose our way. But the beauty is, it's never too late to turn around. Never too late to begin again. Every breath is a fresh start. Every sunrise is a resurrection. You don't have to become someone new. You just have to remember who you already are. And if you ever forget, come back to this truth. You are light. You are love. You are divine. You are here for a reason. Your pain is not wasted. Your life is not an accident. The fact that you're still here means your story isn't over. And someone, somewhere, needs the light that only you can bring. So don't give up. Not now. Not ever. You are part of something vast and beautiful and sacred. You are a thread in the great tapestry of existence, and without you the whole thing unravels. You matter. You belong. You are needed. And when your time does come to leave this world, when you close your eyes one final time, you won't be met with judgment or shame or fear. You'll be met with love, unconditional, infinite, unimaginable, and it will feel like going home. But until that day comes, live. Live wide open. Let the people in. Say what you need to say. Laugh until it hurts. Cry when it does. Forgive fast. Love louder. And above all, remember, this moment is a miracle. This breath is sacred. You are still here. And that means something extraordinary is still unfolding through you. That's what I saw. That's what I know, and now you know too.